What's that saying?
She's a first lady in public and a freak in the bed.
Right. So I'm 76, but I'm 15 in the bed. All night long.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
What?
I'm on a journey to discover, uncover, and recover love. Now, as a national playwright, I've penned dozens of shows about relationships. As a filmmaker, I've documented the most beautiful committal of lovers at weddings. And as a divorcee, I know firsthand the brevity of marriage and the pain of its loss. I'm DeAlba Whitfield, and welcome to the Dear Future Wifey podcast. Welcome to the Dear Future Wifey podcast. I'm your host, DeAlba Whitfield. I wonder, what makes a marriage work? With marriages at an astounding 50% failure rate, how is it that some couples manage to stay married 20, 30, or even 40 years? Joining us today is a dynamic couple. I've been friends with the husband for over 17 years. He's the former lead singer of the R&B group Tower of Power and has had a very successful career as a solo artist. His biggest hit was penned in 1978, the year that I was born. You know what? Let's just call this episode "'Cause I Love You." Welcome to the show, Lenny Williams and his amazing wife, Deborah Williams. How you doing, Miss Williams?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Now, this podcast is all about keeping it lit. That means living intentionally and transparently. So on this podcast, we want 100% authenticity. We want you to just keep it real. So y'all been married for 37 years. So tell me, how did y'all meet?
37, 43 years together.
43 years together.
Yeah, we met at the bank. I was a teller at a bank, and Lenny was a client of the bank. And everybody knew who he was when he walked into the bank. Really, honestly, I had no idea who he was. And he would come in flirting all the time, and he would make me really nervous.
He'll make you nervous?
One night when I was counting out my till at the bank at the end of the day, I noticed that I was short. You have to balance, and I didn't balance. And so I figured, you know what? He comes in here all the time flirting with me. I'm sure that I probably got so nervous that I gave him back too much money. So let me call him. So I called him and I said, Mr. Williams, you know, it's Debbie from the bank, and I'm just wondering if I overpaid you. So, of course, he said no. I can't remember if I ever balanced or not. But after that, he would come in and he would invite me to his shows. And I would never go to the show. But one time it was my birthday and something had came up and I really wanted to go out really bad. So I went to his show and he rolled out the red carpet. And the rest is history.
And then, so it was her birthday. I didn't really know her that well.
Yeah.
Just at the bank, right? So I was getting ready. We took a break. And I was going to the dressing room, and she was sitting right there by the dressing room. So I said, "Oh, happy birthday!" And I went to give her a peck, you know,
really?
just on a little lips or something like that. And the next thing I know, she stuck her tongue all the way down my throat. And I went in the dressing room. I told everybody, I said, "Oh, that's mine now." You know, yes.
See, we have two. The versions vary.
The versions vary.
I did kiss him.
Was it a tongue kiss?
Was it a tongue kiss?
It was a tongue kiss.
Okay, see, so what was different in the story then?
Well, he likes to tell people that I stuck my tongue so far down his throat that he couldn't finish his show.
Yeah, they had to call the throat, ear, nose, and throat doctors right there. Help me out. Right.
To help you out. And so how long did y'all date before? Let me ask you, Lenny, what made you say, this is someone I want to choose as my wifey?
Well, we went together for a long time, like
6 years.
6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was getting, antsy or frustrated or whatever. And then, so I just came home one night and I just said, let's go get married.
Tomorrow.
Let's go to Reno tomorrow and get married.
That's what you did?
Mm-hmm.
So she said, okay. And we just jumped in the car and drove up there, and then we just went by ourselves, and we went to this little chapel in Nevada. You can go up there and get married.
Yeah.
And so we went up there, and then she had to go to the ladies' room to powder her face and everything. And she told the man who was presiding, and she said, "Don't let him go anywhere." Lock the door, because she thought I was going to change my mind. And And so we went on and jumped the broom.
People always ask us, what's the secret of our longevity?
Yeah.
And the secret to longevity, there's no secret. You have to just want it.
Yeah.
We want it to be together, no matter what. I mean, he's made mistakes. I've made mistakes. I mean, there's days that he got on my nerves so bad that I wish he would go away, and ditto.
Yeah.
But we love each other, and we wanted to do life together. So no matter what the devil threw at us, we were determined that we were going to get through it somehow, by the grace of God. And I think now people just give up too early, number one. And then also number two is it seems that people are afraid of commitment.
Yes. Yes.
They would rather live together because you could walk away anytime that you want.
Yes.
But when you're married, it's a little bit more difficult. That's just my opinion.
What do you think, Lenny?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think that basically what you said is right on. I think that basically you have to make a commitment, and you just have to say, I'm going to stay in this marriage, and it's only certain things that would cause me to leave the marriage. And so right now, I think in this day and time, if someone was living if your partner was living a type of lifestyle that would cause you to become infected with HIV or anything like that, that would be, hey, I got to go.
Or abuse.
Or
abuse, yeah.
Well, no, I've been abused now. I've been used and I've been abused, yeah.
He loves to tell jokes.
Remember the other night we was talking about how when I came home that time and you said, you remember?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and one night I came home and she wanted to get real close to me. She wanted to have sex and I didn't want to.
Leonard.
Remember?
Oh my God, I can't believe you're saying that.
And I was like, I don't feel like it. And she's like, oh, you're going to have such a big, and just started the big fight, right? And she going to charge me. She's going to take it.
She's going to take it. You felt violated, didn't you, Lenny?
I can't believe you.
And so, she pinching me right now.
We keep it lit on here, Miss Williams.
But then I was like, she was like she's going to take it, right?
Tell them why.
Why?
Because I was testing you to see where you have been and what you have been doing.
Talk about it.
Huh?
I said, talk about it.
Yeah. So then I'm trying to fend her off and everything. So then she charged me, right? She just charged me. So I just put my hand up like stop, and she ran into my hand. Oh, you hit me. And I said, I didn't hit you. I just did like that. So then I had to leave the house for about a couple hours and come on back and it was all good. Yes.
And then you gave it to her and it was all fine. And you gave it to her and it was all fine at that point.
This is transparency for real.
Yeah, that's what we do here.
No, I think she was on punishment for a couple of years.
He grounded you?
Yeah.
Miss Williams, he grounded you?
I don't remember all that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so that's just my one incident of being abused.
Of being abused. What was we say these wonderful vows when we get married, for richer or poor, through sickness and health, for better or worse. What part of those vows do you want to touch on that it got hard for you? Did y'all have any sickness and health in y'all's marriage? Did y'all have any for better or worse, or for richer or poor, those moments where y'all just wrote it out and committed to each other?
If we had richer or poor,
definitely,
because it was interesting when it seemed like when we got married, all of a sudden my record company dropped me. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, just like my gigs just dried up. Yeah. And like, okay. And I had been married previously, and I had kids that were minor, and I had to take care of them. And so just trying to spread the money around.
And we had a daughter by then.
And then we had a daughter by then too. And so trying to spread the money around was a little difficult. Yeah. And so we had some financial challenges, and then it wasn't like we were poor because I came into the marriage. I had property, but I was like, I don't want to sell my property because I want to keep that until I get old, and that can take care of me. So, but I didn't have a lot of money coming in. I had some money in the bank, but I tell you, $150,000, $200,000 can disappear real quick.
Yeah.
If you go to the bank once a week to just support yourself and nothing else ain't coming in.
Yes. Yes. Been there.
It was difficult. You know,
Yeah.
it was difficult. And we had a strain on our marriage.
Yeah.
We separated.
We
right?
separated one time.
We separated one time.
Mhm.
And then
How long was the separation?
Well, it was a serious separation, and we thought it was the end because we couldn't agree on things.
and we filed for divorce.
Yeah.
We filed for divorce, and we got down to the day we were supposed to go in for settlement and sign the papers and everything like that. And then
Just had a change of heart.
What made it change? Now that's the key part. What did you see in him that you said, I don't want to let go of? I feel like we can get through this. And what did you see in her where you said, listen, this is who I believe that God brought into my life to rock with until death do us part? What happened? What was that moment?
Well, I think for me, it was that we couldn't agree on how things are supposed to be done. And I saw it one way. I saw it as Lenny being selfish.
Yeah.
And then later, you know, he didn't want to, but he was willing to make concessions, which I really, you know, I respected that it wasn't something that he wanted to do, but he wanted the marriage enough to where he would make
those compromises. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, to me, that was it. And plus on top of the fact that brother was walking around looking like he was on crack. He wasn't doing so well. He was in bad shape, you know. And so
what do you mean?
I mean, you know, like
I was sad.
You were sad, and you had lost weight, and your hair was falling out. And
yeah, but it was really interesting because at that time I went and got a job working for a nonprofit, and we were working with probation in San Francisco. So I would do drug diversion and work with young gangs.
That's good.
Right. And so there was a psychologist that worked there. And so I was talking to her one day, and I was telling her about my situation. And I said, my wife wants me to sell a piece of property. Lenny, you so scared of being poor again that you're not willing to take a chance and roll the dice. Mm-hmm. And she said, so
that's good.
From my point of view, I would say sell the house if you want your and buy a house with her name on it. And if she means that much to you, and she says, and so more than likely you're not going to be poor again. But if you are, she said, you've got something in you that you're going to be able to rebound and come back.
100%. And
so then I sold the house, and we bought a house together. And then Debbie had started going to church, and I had stopped going to church, you know. And so then I went to church one Sunday, and then they said I went and got baptized and everything. I said, I'm gonna get her back.
I did a mess.
Okay. You said it was a mess?
I said, I want to get baptized. Next week, brother. No, I want to get baptized right now. Right. Went up there and got dipped in that water. And I think that night we went home and celebrated my salvation. Yes,
you had to go touch and agree on something, huh?
Yeah.
So what was it about her that you said, I can't let her go?
Then she was very smart, very intelligent, and she meant the world to me. And I just didn't want to, I had quit girlfriends before, you know, and so I knew that was in me. I had gotten a divorce before, and I knew that I could walk away, but it was just something there that just wouldn't let me do that, you know, and I guess, you know, I can deduce that was love or a certain need that she fulfilled in me that made me say, okay, I'm gonna throw caution to the wind, and I'm gonna go ahead and do the right thing.
That was the nicest thing you said on this interview.
Really? Mm-hmm. Did I say something bad?
Yeah, you said a couple of things bad, but we'll discuss that later.
Oh, that abuse, all right, hey, that abuse. Right. Check on me in about an hour.
I'll check on you in an hour. So listen, how do you feel about that? He says something in you that he knew he just couldn't let go of, that he had girlfriends before, he's walked away from a marriage before, but he just couldn't walk away from. Did you feel like that when he made the decision to stay?
When he made a decision to stay, he didn't ever want to leave.
Oh, really?
I was at the divorce.
Okay.
But I did. I saw that. I saw that. And then I had a very wise mother. God bless her soul. Our family was intact, and we were all very close. And my mother, I used to go to my mother and talk about our relationship. And my mother always said to me, I can't make a decision for you. It's your decision. But I know that your husband loves you.
That's good. And
my dad always told me, he said, stay with your husband. Your husband loves you. My dad told me that on his deathbed. He had a word for all of us as he was dying. And his word to me was, stay with my husband because my husband loves me and he'll take care of me.
At what age how long had y'all been married when your father passed?
We had been married for about 5 years. About 5 years.
And your father said, now that's something powerful. When a man looks at another man and knows that they love their daughter, that's priceless. How much weight did that have on you on listening to those words to stay?
Everything. It's 100%, because I knew that my parents loved me unconditionally. There was no doubt in my mind about how much my parents loved me. And for my dad to see that, and for my dad to say that, my dad saw something that maybe I wasn't seeing at the time. And that was before we even separated, but I often think about that. I still think about that today when he gets on my nerve.
You just said something that I didn't understand. You said it was 100% what your mom and dad said that made you stay, right?
No, I said it was 100%. I believed in what they said.
Because I was going to say all that bedroom work I was doing, that didn't have no.
But to answer your question, no, that didn't. The bedroom work didn't.
That bedroom work didn't. That didn't make you stay.
No.
More than that. Yeah, so your nose.
She said you got to do more than that.
Her nose going, yeah.
See how much he likes to play? This is all day, every day. He can be so annoying.
How's just that saying about something in the kitchen but a freak in the bed?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So what's that saying?
She's a first lady in public and a freak in the bed.
Right. So I'm 76, but I'm 15 in the bed. all night long.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
What?
15 in the bed.
Well, you
got some stamina.
But you don't know how to control yourself either.
That's beside the point.
I mean, it's like you don't know how to make it last. You just like, ooh.
Like a 6-minute man?
Yeah.
A 1 minute man?
Yeah.
And that's a lot. We finna fight now.
No, I'm saying that's how a 15-year-old
boy go.
Not you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm a mature 15-year-old.
You're a 28-year-old.
No, because when I was 15, I had a girlfriend that was grown. Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm at the house, and the lady down.
Baby, you're getting off subject.
Okay, we'll get off the subject. Right? Yeah,
so y'all have a 9-year difference.
Right? Yes.
How many kids y'all have between the two of y'all?
One.
You have one between, and then and together as co-parents. How many y'all have?
5.
Yeah, 5.
So 6.
6.
Yeah.
You have any grandkids?
Yes. Yeah. 12.
12 grandchildren. I saw an article that Steve Harvey said about how the two of you went and thanked him for playing the song "'Cause I Love You" during the Kings of Comedy tour. Tell us a little bit about that and why that was so impactful for y'all's life.
Well, for number one, Lenny spoke about earlier how when we got married, his career kind of dried up. And when Steve Harvey did the Kings of Comedy, it was like a shot in the arm. Lenny's career just exploded again, So we're real thankful for that. And Steve is a nice guy. We like him a lot. We have a lot of respect for him. And he helped Lenny to send 3 kids to college. Yeah, our daughter and 2 of his other daughters to college. So, I mean, he just kind of brought us out of what we were going through.
Yeah, at that time, when Kings of Comedy came out, we had 3 daughters in college. And our daughter wound up going to Ivy League school, which was costing $65,000 a year. And that was just for, just to get in. And then you had books. And then she was going to school with Tom Hanks' daughter and Samuel Jackson's daughter. And on the weekends, they going up to, we're going to fly to Puerto Rico. So it's like, okay, you put her in that position. She got to fly to Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
For the weekend. And, so all that. My other daughters were in college in California. She was in New York, and just trying to take care of all of them, everybody living in dormitories and then getting their own apartments. Yeah. And so Kings of Comedy came out, and then my phone just started ringing. And then I started, then Kanye West sampled, it was kind of like a domino effect. Then Kanye West and Twista sampled me, and then the money just started rolling in. It was like money just... There's too much money, Lord. My cup was running over. It's like,
come on, somebody.
Then you called.
Then I got and played with David Talbert and you, and it was just like blessings. I was like, my cup was just, our cup was just overflowing. So we have a lot of respect for Steve, and so he just kind of like was, God kind of used him as the catalyst, to get the ball rolling, and then it just, it's still rolling. Yeah.
But listen to this, like, what people see the success, but what type of prayers did y'all pray? Were y'all like in that midst of those trenches and those hard times? Did y'all ever come together as a husband and wife and say, hey, listen, we trying to ration out our money. Let's pray. Let's figure out something. Hey, baby, you may have to go get a second job or what? What were those conversations like behind the scenes?
Well, I've been doing music exclusively since 1972. And so that's all I did. And so then I hit this, the red light came on, and then it was like, no music. It just not happening. Right. And so I remember saying I wanted to get a job. And so I went to Albertson, which was a grocery store.
I know we got them down here.
Want to get a job. So you could be a cashier. And I was like, I don't want to be a cashier because I don't want nobody to see me, right?
Yep.
I want to be a janitor, and I want to work at night. Nobody in the store but me and whoever's stocking. And I'm going in. My name's Leonard Williams, and bam, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was all good for about 2 weeks. Then all of a sudden, all the big grocery store chains decided they're going to stay open for 24 hours, right? So one morning, about 6 o'clock, I'm walking down the aisle.
With your broom.
With my broom. And who do I see but somebody that I graduated from high school with, and I turned around and I went the other way, and then they didn't see me, and then I quit.
You quit.
I just quit. I had to come home and tell my wife, you know what I mean, that, so the next morning it's time to go to work. And then I ain't getting up. She's like, well, you ain't you going to work? I said, I quit, and then, of course, she didn't like that. And
I understood.
You understood?
I respected that.
It didn't sound like it to me, though.
What were you doing at the time, Miss Williams?
I've always had a lucrative career. At that time, I think I was in HR for Safeway stores.
Mm-hmm.
And then I left there and I went to hospitality, sales and marketing in hospitality. So I've always had a job.
Yeah, see, she was working. She was making that money.
But how were y'all living then? Y'all had a nice house and all that type of stuff?
We had a nice apartment. Then that was an issue with her. She's like, okay, you sitting on
all this money,
all these houses,
and you got real estate properties, but you live in an apartment.
Real estate, you know what I mean, down in Silicon Valley, right down the street from Google and all this other kind of
some good stuff. You still got that?
Yes, and so she's like, but we live in an apartment. You're not making you're not making any money. You could sell one of those houses or whatever, and so we had a point of contention about it. But I'm saying, well, we need to hold on to that, because if we don't, if we sell it now, or if I go get a loan on it, I got to pay it back. And if I can't pay it back, then I'm going to lose it. So I'm looking at this as a period of suffering.
Being married to a musician is a whole different life. It's unlike being married to anyone else, I think, because they get a lot of attention. There's a lot of temptation.
Yep.
There's a lot of disrespect for the wives by their audience and their fans sometimes.
So hold on, let's talk about that. What's the most disrespectful thing that an audience member or fan do in front of you to your husband?
Well, I think probably the most disrespect. Well, there's been a lot, but the one that comes to the forefront right now is the woman that asked me if she could take a picture with him, and the next thing I know, she was sitting in his lap.
What's wrong with that?
Santa Claus get to have people sitting.
So, but there's been a lot of occasions, and there's a lot of things, but that's the one that I can remember right now.
What did you do in that moment?
Ask her to get up.
You just walked over and said, "Hey, can you please get up?" It was real nice and sweet and docile.
No, it wasn't like that, but Lenny knows when I give him that eye that things have gone too far. So he's really good at reading me now.
Do you like to sit in my lap?
I'm your wife.
Do you like to sit in my lap?
No.
You don't?
No.
Yes, you do. Okay. Why wouldn't somebody else want to sit in my lap?
I work with Lenny. One thing that I can say, working with him, we toured together about 2 years on one show, another few weeks on another show, but he's very respectful. That's one thing that's the reason why I want to actually speak to you, is because on the road, he was extremely respectful to women. So he's really disciplined. And that's one thing that I learned as a young person. I was like, I want to be disciplined like that, because when I looked at Lenny, I saw longevity. And so it's no surprise to me that when you see longevity in just discipline as a man, and longevity in career, and then longevity in marriage, that's one thing that I learned, is that if you can be disciplined in one area, you can actually be disciplined in a lot of different areas.
I love the fact that I can depend on him.
That's good.
I can depend on him. I can walk outside right now and find somebody to play touchy-feely with, but I'm not going to find anybody that I could depend on when I'm having bad days to lift me up. I'm not going to be able to find that person. Might not pray with me when I need prayer. We pray together a lot, and we definitely pray when Lenny gets ready to leave, every week when he gets ready to leave. But it's dependability is not all monetary. It's mentally, of course, it's physically, and it's emotionally. There's a lot that goes into that. And so dependability means that whatever the situation is and whatever it is that I need, he's going to try to provide it for me.
There it is.
It's not about that. And then after being married, let me just throw this in. After being married for, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40 years, intimacy is not really way up at the high at the priority list anymore.
Right.
For you.
Because you know why? Because the relationship, it means more than that.
Right.
There's more that connects us than that. We have a history. I know things about him that no one else knows.
Exactly.
Not even my children. He knows things about me no one else knows, not even our children. So it's something that just connects us. I mean, he's annoying as heck, but he's my best friend.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's always there.
So what do you think is missing? So in today's marriages, is it just because they don't, and we don't? I got a divorce after being married almost 10 years, 2 weeks shy from 10 years, I got a divorce. But is it because we don't stick it out through those rough times to get to that cleaving moment that what the Bible talks about, where we truly become one flesh? What year was it when you said we about to file for divorce? What year was that?
That was in, let me see.
Yes.
That was like year 9.
Was it 9?
Yeah, I think it was like year 9.
And so year 9, y'all decided, hey, we tried it. Daddy, I heard what you said. Mom, I heard what you said, but this is the life that I'm living. I'm ready to walk away. And like you said, you filed.
No, I wanted to make a point. I wanted to make a point because like Lenny said, I was going to work every day. I had a very lucrative career, but I was paying rent. I had nothing to show for it. And Lenny had all these houses, and he was, it was like, I felt like I was being taken for granted because we didn't have anything together.
Okay, I see.
He had his little basket of stuff, And then we were renting. And we were also struggling. And I felt like that if he truly loved me, he would do what he did. Yeah. He would make a concession. So I was sending a message to him. And thank God he heard it. I didn't really want to get divorced. I still loved him.
Yeah.
I felt like I was being taken for granted.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I was being treated fairly.
What is the advice that you would give me as I continue on my journey to find my wife?
Marriage is an interesting thing. I was just reading the other day where Tom Brady said that his wife Giselle, I think was 10 years ago, was dissatisfied in their marriage. And I was like, wow, you know what I mean? You got this husband that's, good looking, and she's beautiful too, great. But he's wealthy, and and I haven't heard any scandals or anything. So it's like, what could be going on? So I don't know. I think it's just the chemistry. I think understand how a person feels about saving and spending and planning, and then I think then basically even understanding spirituality. But there's a lot of divorces in church right now.
50% too.
I think that a lot of people look for the perfect person. You're not perfect. You're not going to find anybody that's perfect.
Totally.
But if you find someone that your soul connects with, you share the same values. They might not have everything you think that they should have. They might not dress the way you think they should dress. They may not comb their hair the way that you think that they should comb their hair. But if you have something to work with it. When I met my husband, he had a pompadour. And he would wear a 3-piece suit, and he'd have every piece buttoned up. Now, he doesn't wear the pompadour anymore.
Yep.
He's a very stylish dresser.
Yeah.
So I looked at him and said, "Oh, I don't like pompadours, and I don't like guys that, look a certain way in their clothes. We probably wouldn't be together." People are so superficial.
That's good.
They don't put in the work. They don't want to put in the work. So I think that that's what's really important.
But I want it just won't go. But if it could,
you got that pompadour back.
Yeah, right. Yes.
Well, listen, it was a pleasure speaking with y'all. Thank y'all so much for blessing the listeners on our Dear Future Wifey podcast. Y'all are so great. I can see why y'all stay together for so long. Give it up for Williams. Huh?
I got a little cousin that I can introduce you to.
A little cousin.
Thanks for having us so much. And we'll be praying for you that, that you'll find your helpmate.
Thank you so much. Lenny is a nut, right? Yeah, that's my boy. What I love to see is how opposites attract, but yet they're able to bring out the best in each other. And that's what I see exemplified in the Williamses. And I can see how they managed to stay married for so long in such a thriving relationship and marriage. Now, please indulge me for a moment as I manifest long-lasting love into my future. Dear future wifey, imagine us at the most luxurious wedding reception. I reach over and delicately grab the hand that beholds the 5-carat diamond investment I deposited into our forever. You gaze into my eyes and answer my touch with a smile. Wedded bliss. However, this is not our wedding. We stare at the dance floor as we await our granddaughter's first dance with her freshly married husband. This is legacy. The music begins. They lock hands and bask in the beauty of their nuptials. Before they can even hit their first dance step, you and I are whisked away in flashbacks of our 40+ years of marriage together. We stayed together. We grew old together. We're still in love together. Physically, we're not as strong as we used to be, so we've opted to stay seated most of the night. But our love is stronger than ever, tried, tested, and proven. It's like an angel whispers in the DJ's ear because he plays our favorite song. Our love fuels our feeble bodies to stand and share a dance with one another. We dance on our love. We celebrate our love. Our family has grown from our love. Your future hubby. Thank you for listening to the Dear Future Wifey podcast. Remember, be lit, live intentionally and transparently, and don't stop loving. Make sure to subscribe to our Dear Future Wifey YouTube channel. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. We welcome your support. Simply share our podcast with your friends and family.